America is under attack from within. Our culture, our history, our founding are under the most direct assault I have seen in my life, and I'm sure it's the same with you. We haven't seen anything like this. You might even get away with saying that we are on the cusp of a second civil war. Some of you might say that we are already into it, that it has already begun. However you characterize it, though, we are under attack from within, and it's being bought and paid for by people from outside America, in addition to inside. I'm thinking of people like George Soros and any other number of international financiers whose objective it is to take the United States out and down as a superpower, to literally erase the United States as a powerful or super powerful nation. Now, folks, in order to defend America, which I believe is incumbent upon all of us, in order to defend America, you have to begin knowing our history. If you're going to defend the United States of America, you have to know our history. You have to know the purpose of the United States of America. You have to know unequivocally and proudly the United States' place in history. And that is why erasing and distorting our history is crucial for the left to succeed. None of this that is happening on the left is random. None of the riots, none of the protests, they are not the result of the left being offended by individual acts. For example, Antifa didn't show up in Charlotte because they found out something was going to happen that offended them. They showed up in Charlotte to create mayhem and cause hell. They showed up in Ferguson, Missouri to do the same thing. They showed up in Baltimore to do the same thing. And wherever they show up today and tomorrow and next week, it's by design, on purpose, has an objective and an agenda. And that agenda is to erase American history. That agenda is to distort, erase, and impugn our history. It is crucial if they are to succeed. Because, you see, if enough Americans can be persuaded that America as founded is unjust, if enough Americans can be persuaded that America as founded is inherently racist and immoral and illegitimate, then it will be all that much easier to erase America as founded. The two go hand in hand, which is the objective of all of these groups on the left, whatever they're called and wherever they go and however they organize and whatever their day-to-day purpose, their objective is to erase the history of America, to restate it, to recharacterize it in such a way as to convince a majority of Americans that their country is illegitimate and has been from the get-go, is unjust and racist and bigoted, and has been from the get-go. If enough Americans can be persuaded of all of that, that America is inherently racist, that America is and has been a lie, then it's over. And that is the objective, and we are in the midst of it. Sometimes you're so close to the forest you don't see the trees. That's what we are in the midst of here, an ongoing effort to erase America by discrediting the entire premise, our culture, our history, our founding. The objective is to create in as many American minds as possible that America as founded is not worth defending. Serious times. This is a very, very serious effort that's underway. Sadly, it has a lot of allies. It has a lot of people helping it that ought to be opposing it. but they are choosing what they think is the path of least resistance, which is defined by the media. So you've got several Republicans who I believe are unwittingly participating in the effort to cast America as indefensible, particularly with Donald Trump as president. Trump as president is, in their view, the attacks on Trump, the characterization of his presidency is designed to show how really flawed America is, that somebody like this could be elected. That means it's time to get rid of the Constitution. That means it's time to get whatever made Trump possible. It's time to change it and get rid of it. This is very, very serious stuff happening here. And it has the aid and support of the media, which means it has the aid and support of the worldwide left and the Democrat Party. America's profound morality, kindness, widespread prosperity, and design for equal opportunity should be self-evident. But that assumes that factual, historically accurate reporting and education is taking place, so we know that it isn't. It is a shame and a near crime that the profound morality and greatness and kindness and widespread prosperity and equal opportunity that is America isn't known. It is a crime that those characteristics of our country are in the process of being recast and erased. We are getting hysterically inaccurate reporting. We have been in the midst of hysterically inaccurate education for generations. America is unique. America copied no other country. Every other country was a copycat of others, with governments that denied individual freedom, denied opportunity, denied sovereignty. That's what was copied. Tyranny was copied, nation to nation, people to people. That is the history of humanity. Living in tyranny, living under authoritarianism, living in poverty, living in sickness, until the United States came along, which copied nothing. The United States and its founders rejected all of that tyranny, oppression, poverty. In America, the individual was the supreme power. That is being erased under the premise that the individual is corrupt. The individual is likely a racist or a transphobe or a homophobe or some other ill-prepared sack of humanity. And so we need to overcome the corruption that is the individual. That incomparable embrace of humanity that is the United States of America. There's no place on this planet that human beings would rather be than the United States of America. And yet, people born and raised in this country have been persuaded that America is a sinkhole, a hellhole, a sewer, a garbage dump, or a dungeon, and are in the process of actually creating all of that under the guise of civil rights, equality, and liberty. The incomparable embrace of humanity that is the United States is under attack. Leftists, Democrats seek control over 100% of the population. They accomplish this with lies, such as the Affordable Health Care Act. They accomplish it with one lie after another. The lies being told today are the lies designed to convince people their country is not worth maintaining as it is. Their country is not worth maintaining as founded because it was founded as racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic. You know the drill. Immoral and illegitimate. Ignorant people will not remain free for very long. The media is working on a path parallel with school systems to actively and passively distort information, to wipe out from the vestiges of our history and our memory. Any collection of stories that testify to the greatness of America and her people. We'll be back. Don't go away. As I say, folks, ignorant people will not remain free for very long. The media is working on a path parallel with school systems, and now major corporations are joining in this effort. Free, informed speech is punished. Diversity of thought is punished and discouraged. And it's all coming to a head now, folks. This mob is made to appear much bigger than it really is. This mob tried to elect Hillary Clinton and failed. The media is directing all of this. Call it a soap opera or a movement or a strategy. And let me tell you, the media and these mobs, they're not just into removing statues, folks. They're not in this just to remove Republicans. And they're not in this just to remove Donald Trump. The campaign here is to convince you that your country isn't worth defending. The campaign here is to convince you your country is deeply flawed from the outset and needs to be completely remade, reconstituted, outside the framework of a constitutional republic. That has failed. We must discard that and reconstitute ourselves as an authoritarian, benevolent, that's what they think it would be, tyranny. The campaign is to concentrate power and to end the era of the individual and individual liberty. Brief break. We will continue after this. Don't go away. Yeah, stand by audio soundbite number 18. This is a very important theme I'm leading off the program with today, folks. I don't often do monologues or sermon-like things, but this was... we're in the midst of something extremely crucial. This really does involve the future the country is founded. I mean, I've known for years it's under siege, under attack. I know the left. I know their motivations. I know their objectives. I know who funds them. I know how they've educated people. But it's now plain as day for anybody in the world to see that they are attempting to seriously convince as many Americans as possible there's nothing defensible about this country. It needs to be torn down and rebuilt. It's not savable. This country is too flawed. It is too far gone. There's not enough goodness and decency to grab hold of and reform. And this is why education has dumbed people down. This is why so few people know genuine American history. So few people actually understand what I mentioned at the beginning of this. You have to know American history. You have to know the purpose. You have to know America's place in history. You have to know why 56 men risked their lives and their fortunes and their sacred honor to declare independence from the tyranny of the day. You have to know why they did that. You have to know what they faced. You have to have a deep appreciation for your individual personal liberty. You have to have a deep appreciation for the history of the world, which is that until the United States came along, that didn't exist as a charter of government. There were people at individual liberty and freedom. They ran tyranny countries. They ran authoritarian. They ran dungeons. Or they were wealthy elite. But the vast majority of human beings who have lived on this planet have never come close to knowing what life is like in the United States of America. But around the world today, and since our founding, everybody alive does know and tries to get here. Temporarily, permanently, what have you. And yet all of it is under assault and being rewritten, with the theme being that this country is not worth it, that it is deeply flawed, America is not worth defending. It's inherently racist and unjust. And here's the real irony. This bunch of people down in Charlotte, this ragtag bunch of Nazis and Klan members and white supremacists, there's not enough of those people to affect any kind of change whatsoever. Not systemic change. There's not enough of those people to elect enough people to matter. There aren't enough of those people to matter, period. They are not the problem. They don't have power in America today. They don't have any compared to the people opposing them. How many people show up at a Klan rally these days if they have one? The media doesn't show you because it's so tiny. The media wants you to think the Klan elected Donald Trump. The media wants you to think the Klan, the Nazis, and the white supremacists elected Donald Trump and that Steve Bannon put them all together and grew them. There aren't enough of those people to elect a member of Congress, much less a president. They are not the problem. The problem is on the other side. The problem comes from people who do have power. And what power they have the power to shut down free speech on campus. They have the power to totally corrupt the movie, the book, the music and TV industries. They have real power. The anarchists, the anti-Americans, the Antifa, the Occupy Wall Street, the Black Lives Matter, the United States mainstream media, the Democrat Party, they have power. They are leading the effort that is attempting to teach America is unjust and immoral and illegal. These little hapless people marching around wearing white hoods couldn't stop diddly squat. They don't have any power. They've been shamed into practically non-existence. And yet they are hoisted up. They are portrayed as the people running this country, or the people who used to run this country, and they ran it for all these years, and now they are losing it justifiably, and they are panicked and causing trouble. They don't have any power compared to the people that I'm talking about. You think the Klan can compare to the mainstream media? You think the Nazis, however many of them there are or few, can compare to the media and academia and Hollywood? It's a joke. The same thing with the Nazis and the same thing with the white supremacists. But when you talk Black Lives Matter, when you talk Occupy Wall Street, or any of these other left-wing groups that end up rioting and protesting, they are the military wing of the people with power in this country. And these people run the Washington establishment. And you don't find any Klansmen there, and you don't find any Nazis there, because there aren't enough of those people to matter a hill of beans. But yet, look how they are portrayed. None of these people run institutions of higher learning. None of these people are in charge of massive amounts of money donated by other wealthy people and then redistributed to advance the leftist cause. They don't have anything like that. They're not the people to worry about. And yet, turn on the news, and the only people to worry about, and the reason why America must be reconstituted, the reason why America is unjust and illegitimate, is because of a bunch of people who wouldn't fill a phone booth in a proportional illustration of the population of this country. In the process, the American people are being misdirected and told to fear the wrong people. At the same time, they're being told to believe and appreciate the right people. And the right people are the people who really wield the power and who really have as their objectives to undermine and overthrow the Constitution of this country and create something different that will end up nullifying the whole concept of individual liberty and freedom. You already see this on the Internet. The Internet is unregulated, and that's good. But look what has happened here. Do you think the Klan can hold a candle to PayPal? Can the Nazis hold a candle to Facebook? Can white supremacists in any way compete in terms of power with Twitter? There's no way. So those websites have all decided amongst themselves, the CEOs of those websites have unilaterally decided they are not going to allow any speech they don't like. Now, they do this under the guise of banning hate speech from the Nazis and related websites, white supremacist websites, and so forth. And it's applauded. But these guys are admitting the only reason they're doing it is because they don't like these guys and they don't want to have to see it on their sites. What if they wake up tomorrow and don't like you? They are in effect saying that due to their own sensibilities of what's right and wrong and just and unjust, they are going to decide who has the ability to think and say whatever is thought and said on their platforms. Do you agree with that or not? Do you think that's okay? Do you say, well, Rush, I got to side with them. And I don't think the stormtroopers ought to have a website, and I don't think the supremacists ought to. Okay, fine. Remember, they don't have any power to do diddly squat. All they can do is offend you and make you mad. They don't have any power to do anything. But do you think that 3 people, Zuckerberg and whoever the other 2 are that run PayPal and Facebook, Twitter, what, you think they ought to be able to wake up one day and just decide? But they're doing it under the guise, by the way, of cleansing and purifying and sanctifying. That's not what they're doing. They are limiting speech. I saw some idiot Democrat on TV the other day. Oh, no, it was one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, a woman. You know what she said? The Constitution prohibits hate speech. And I heard that, and I thought, there's going to be a lot of people that agree with it because they don't know. Because they've been taught that hate speech is bad. Who defines, by the way, hate speech? Like, I think I'm the victim of hate speech every day. There's some hate speech on me in, a Washington Post today? I think it's the Washington Post. Yep, hate speech on me today, the Washington Post. People speak of me with hate every day in mainstream news organizations. But here's the founder of Black Lives Matter. Constitution prohibits hate speech. No, in fact, what the Constitution does is allows it. The First Amendment specifically permits it. That's the point of the First Amendment. The free speech clause, there isn't any limit that a government can put on it. Other than calling it a fire in a crowded theater, of course, that kind of thing. But political speech, specifically referenced in the founding documents, there isn't any limit on the hate speech, the speech you hate and disagree with. That is the speech protected. And the age-old theory has been the way you drown it out is with mountains and mountains and mountains of more free speech that condemns, that ridicules, that relegates. But that's not how the left goes about it. The left gets offended and says, you don't have the right to offend me. I'm shutting you up or down. And people applaud it. Those are the people that have the power in America today, folks. The people that run universities that you're spending $25,000 a semester to send your kid to, the drive-by media, heck, your local school board, the Hollywood entertainment industry, that's real power. That's where the power is, and it's all aligned and arrayed on one side. Donald Trump is coming up against it. Who do you think's winning that battle? You're just perception of watching. Who's winning that battle of power? And then you want to tell me, they want to tell me that we need to really fear this bunch of lunatics in the Klan and this bunch of hapless half-wits in the white supremacy movement? Seriously?